stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Materials, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
If the medical experts get it wrong, everything changes. From misdiagnosis or delayed diagnosis to surgical injury or even poor treatment. All have physical, emotional and financial consequences. We're here to help. So if your treatment didn't go according to plan, speak to our experienced medical negligence team at McElhenney and Associates. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Who's watching your home while you're asleep, at work or on holiday? With the Sheridan Security Alarm System, you can be assured of round-the-clock monitoring. Our central monitoring station is on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, monitoring homes and businesses in the northwest for intruder, fire, panic and medical signals, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. Sheridan Security Systems, Bonagee, Letterkenny, protecting what you value most. Call us for a free quotation on 91-26025.
So, what's your favourite tool? For some it's their hammer, passed down from their dad with just the right balance, or that new go-to impact driver. Here's a tool that's sure to become your new favourite, the new Screwfix app. Download today to browse, check stock, get exclusive offers and quicker collection when you check in the app. The new Screwfix app, your new favourite tool.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Today's weather, sunny spells and showers after some early mist and fog patches. Highest temperatures of 12 to 14 degrees. The news at 10 is coming up next.
If you are a victim or survivor of sexual violence, you do not need to suffer on your own. Help is available to you. We spoke to Niamh from the communications team in Coon about supports available to all victims of sexual violence.
There are state services available throughout the country. These include specially trained units of An Garda Síochána, sexual assault treatment units, the Legal Aid Board and the Court Service. Full details of all state and non-state supports are available on alwayshere.ie.
If you are looking for help and support in relation to sexual violence, contact your local Sexual Violence Support Centre on 1800 448 844.
At Hidden Hearing, we believe you should keep hearing it all. Keep dancing, keep celebrating, keep laughing, keep being you. Call 1-800-370-000 or go to hiddenhearing.ie and book a free hearing test today. Hidden Hearing, your hearing is our expertise.
All innovative, all inspiring, all yours. Discover the Audi 261 range with Audi All Access at your local dealership. Join us at our nationwide open house event from October 17th to 24th and experience exhilarating test drives, unmissable offers and exclusive product upgrades. Book a test drive with Audi All Access today. Audi. Vorsprung durch Technik.
Smart employers choose One for All. Reward your staff tax-free now up to €1,500 with gift cards that can be spent directly in-store and online with thousands of retailers on thousands of brands. Give cards physically or digitally, it's gifting made simple. Order One for All gift cards now at any post office or online at onpost.com/business gifting. Terms and conditions apply. The One for All gift card is issued by GVS Prepaid Europe Limited and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Bower Festival presents the Coronas, plus special guests. Bank Holiday Sunday, 26th of October in the Marquee Letterkenny at Kiltoy. Tickets available from forfestival.ie. That's the Coronas, Letterkenny, 26th of October. Get your tickets now.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonagh. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the 10 o'clock news. Concerns have been raised regarding proposed active travel works in the Ballymacool Road area of Letterkenny. It's looking to promote walking and cycling between the area and employment, recreational and educational destinations in the town. This is with a cycle lane, improved walking facilities and the moving of car parking facilities located at Ballymacool Terrace. John McGeever, a local resident there, says moving the parking would not be practical.
My daughter, she's only after having a child there a couple of months back, and she asked him, she says, well, what do I do if I need to take the child down the house? Because we live at the very bottom of the terrace.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, could you not carry the child down?
Right.
And she says, well, what about my shopping? And he says, could you not carry that down? Now, I know the man wasn't being flippant, but it just seemed to be sort of like, sure, there he is there, he's got a parking base.
A local councillor has condemned a case of illegal dumping on Boher and Champel in Gweedore. 8 black bin bags were discovered at the side of the road by walkers between Thursday evening last and Saturday morning. Councillor John Hamish O'Farry says the matter has now been reported to the litter warden, who will examine the contents of the bags in the bid to determine a culprit. Councillor O'Farry named the area a black spot and is calling for a harsher punishment to be implemented.
And it's just an awful shame that this is an ongoing issue in this area. It seems to be a dumping ground for people that, really don't care about the community or the environment either. The service that we have nowadays, that lorries coming around collecting their waste, and still people carry on with illegal dumping is just, in my opinion, if people are caught, they should be named and shamed, and the fine should be increased, in my opinion, is the only way to go.
The government is to introduce a domestic violence register. Justice Minister Jim O'Callaghan will bring the draft legislation to Cabinet tomorrow, which will see those convicted of the crime publicly named. Jenny's Law is named in order of Jennifer Poole, who was murdered by her ex-partner Gavin Murphy in 2021. Jennifer's brother Jason has been campaigning for the legislation for years.
If this law had been in place, Jennifer would still be alive today, in my opinion and in my family's opinion, because Gavin had a history of domestic violence. In particular, he had done time in prison for domestic violence offences. And when he met Jennifer, he told Jennifer that he was living in Spain. Jennifer was none of the wiser.
Israel says it has resumed enforcement of the ceasefire in Gaza after airstrikes killed at least 44 people. The IDF say the strikes followed a Hamas attack in the Rafah that killed 2 soldiers. Hamas denies involvement though, saying it remains committed to the truce. Tensions are rising and the Trump peace plan is now under serious strain. Greg Kallstrom, Middle East correspondent for The Economist, says he is confident the deal will hold, but questions remain on some points.
These longer-term questions around who is going to govern Gaza, who is going to manage reconstruction, who is going to provide security there, I'm much more skeptical that the negotiators are going to be able to overcome the gaps. It gets much more complicated when you start to work on the next phase of this deal.
A fine is being introduced for people with hard-to-read licence plates on their car. From this week, Gardaí can issue a €60 penalty through the Garda Mobility app for drivers who break the licence plates laws. The rules apply to colour, shape, design and font. Shane O'Donoghue, editor of CompleteCar.ie, says it's not necessarily targeting people with faded plates.
Number plates are supposed to be kept in good order, and the NCT should ensure that. But actually, I think this is designed more around people who are using non-standard plates. There's these what are called 4D plates, which have numbers that are raised, but perhaps less legible are the ones that are darkened out. They're very dark grey, and they're hard to read at times.
A Donegal primary school has been awarded a cash grant to boost its digital ecosystem. Scoil Niamh Podrick in Dumfries says the money received through the Rise Community Fund with the NBI will be used to purchase new tablet devices. A spokesperson says that the technology will ensure that different activities are available to suit the needs of every pupil and that it can personalise assessments. Looking now to the weather forecast, sunny spells and showers today after the mist and fog patches clear with highest temperatures of 12 to 14 degrees. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with headlines at 11 o'clock. The obituary notices this Monday morning, October 20th. The death has occurred of Ricard Gallagher, Glenties and 4 Stevens Place, Belfast. Ricard's remains will repose at his residence, number 12 Dr McCluskey Crescent, today from 11 o'clock until 10 p.m. Funeral Mass in St Connell's Church, Glenties, tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. House private on the morning of the funeral, no flowers please. The death has occurred of Peter O'Donnell, Domains, Raphoe, County Donegal. Peter will repose at his late residence today and tomorrow from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. Rosary will be recited each evening at 9 o'clock. There will be a shuttle bus system available from 4:30 from the Mart in Raphoe to Peter's house and back. The funeral cortege will leave his late residence on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. to St Eunan's Church, Raphoe for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Cancer Society, care of any family member or Kelly's Funeral Directors, Oakfield, Raphoe. The Mass may be viewed on the Parish of Raphoe webcam. The death has occurred of Packy Joe McCahill, Farragon's Lettermack Award. Packy Joe's remains will repose at McGlynn's Funeral Home today from 3 p.m. until 8 o'clock, with Rosary at 8 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in St Brigid's Church, Lettermack Award, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House strictly private on the morning of the funeral. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio. Dad, how does Mommy know a superhero called Quiva?
Quiva? Aviva. Mammy got new home insurance from the superheroes at Aviva.
Why are they superheroes at Aviva?
Because they helped her save 20%.
For 20% off home insurance when you buy online, it takes Aviva. Offer available when you take out a new policy online. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to minimum premium of €230 for home insurance, €115 for contents or buildings only. Home insurance is underwritten by Aviva Insurance Ireland DAC. Aviva Direct Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Now, welcome back to the 9 till noon show. It's Michaela Clarke in this morning for Greg Hughes. We had some issues with our streaming earlier, but we're back up and running now. So you can watch along if you wish on our website, highlandradio.com, and our social media platforms as well. Now, we were talking just before the news at 10 about the active travel project planned for Ballymacool. Some of you have been in touch in relation to that. Let's look at the reality of the future, which is parking outside your home in a main residential area is a luxury, not a right. But I suppose those residents, you know, that's different if there is new developments coming on stream. But if you live in a house, you've purchased a house where there is parking, you obviously want to retain that parking. Another listener says, so how do you bring home your groceries and a baby home at one time? Clearly the baby will have to be left alone for a period of time. Where are you supposed to park your car? It's all right if we had a great public bus system that people did need cars, but the reality is we all need a car. And in relation to that baby and bringing home your shopping there, what if it is, you know, if there's torrential rain and you're walking home with the baby and walking home then with your groceries and back and forward. And as I think it was John was saying, he's a resident in Ballymacool, that, you know, they've proposed 26 parking spaces, but yet he walked along the route and there was 30 or just over 30 cars parked in the area. So there's obviously a greater need that needs to be met there if the parking was to be relocated elsewhere. Another listener says, let's face it, the car park will be used for people attending matches and overflow from the Aura. That's what John raised concern about as well. Where will that leave the homeowners? Look at the mess of Ballymacool housing estate when a game is on. We've talked about that previously as well. And, you know, in the case of an emergency, you know, where do the emergency services go as well? So, you know, it's very difficult then if there's no parking outside a house. What happens in that instant? Surely the car park area should be purchased before the parking outside the homes is done. It's putting the cart before the horse. Surely the parking bay should be in place first. What about people with disabilities? How will they get into their homes? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into the full detail of the proposals, but John was saying as well that, there's already 3 residents that need a disabled parking bay, and they've proposed 2. So obviously one of them will have to choose whether they avail of the parking as well. And, I'm not sure, is it a mobility issue or why they have use of a disabled parking bay, but surely expecting them then to walk from the designated parking area to their homes, you shouldn't expect anybody to do that. Morning, Michaela. I'm also a Ballymacool resident and I travel that road every morning. The reality is we don't need cycle lanes as no one cycles or walks to school or work. The children travel by school bus and people drive. The cycle lanes in our town are not used as it is. We need our roads widened and that's where the money should be spent. It's a case, another listener says, of spending this money no matter what kind of a mess they make of Letterkenny. The roads outside your house, which is usually the footpath or verge, is owned by the council and is considered a public space. Show me one flat or home in Dublin that has parking outside their home. Another listener says, the reality is the public have had these benefits for years, but parking is not an entitlement. In Lake, we were told 7.5 years ago that the road would be widened. The residents will have nothing to worry about as there will be no work commencing for at least 10 years. In Lake, a lot of our residents have now passed on and nothing was ever done. Well, I suppose if the plans are proposed, they're inviting, last week they had the meeting hosted by the council, inviting submissions from residents and any other interested parties to make their submissions known. So, to raise these concerns, but it might be a couple of years before any works are carried out. But at least, hopefully, you would like to think that the concerns of residents and businesses in the area and anybody who frequents that area will be taken on board, and hopefully a solution found that meets, that everybody can meet in the middle, or just that the residents are properly catered for. In relation to traffic in Letterkenny, we need white lines done along the road to see what the changes would look like. It will show where the road will be narrowed and widened. Public meetings are also needed. Well, yeah, there was a public meeting hosted by the council last week, and, in the plans put forward, they do highlight and draw up where the proposed changes would be and where the road realignments would be carried out as well. The main issue with traffic in Letterkenny is that we need relief roads. So many roads have been started and never finished. The relief road in Glen Ockley and Glen Carr was started 25 years ago and still isn't finished. Another listener says, in relation to a different matter, I live in a rural area and there's constant domestic rubbish dumping for years and nothing is ever done about it, no matter how many times it's reported. That's in relation to an item on our news today, in relation to dumping in West Donegal. Another listener has been in touch with regards parking. Sure, this parking system won't be abused. Sure, this is Ireland after all. So we were talking at the start of the show about Councillor Jimmy Brogan and Anna Gallagher, the Donegal Town Mayor, were discussing introducing sunflower parking in Donegal Town, so that would cater for people who have some mobility issues, maybe they're autistic, that they just need that small bit of support to help them in their day-to-day activities. So it wouldn't be run like disabled parking bays. You wouldn't need a badge or a card to indicate that you can avail of this parking space, but it would be like a child and family parking space that you would hope people wouldn't abuse it, but they would be available for those who need it. Another listener says, as a granny of 2 autistic boys, I'm delighted to hear this good news this morning. Taking them shopping can be a difficult experience. So that's obviously who they would be trying to help with regards to the sunflower parking, to make it easier for that granny and her 2 grandsons going shopping. And it's just to make sure, they're near where they need to be and just to ease life a bit for them. Just a mention, so Rafo Heritage Town is on nationwide on Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. So across the country, there's growing interest among communities and businesses in restoring traditional shop fronts and dwellings. Reporter Mary Hart visits 2 of Donegal's heritage towns where revitalisation efforts are underway with support from the government's Town and Village Renewal Scheme. So that is 7 p.m. this Wednesday on RTE nationwide, so make sure to tune into that. Somebody has been in touch with regards to Garda vetting. They say, I completely agree that Garda vetting is so important. It keeps everyone safe and accountable. But I'm just wondering, why do facilitators have to go through the Garda vetting process multiple times for different organisations or venues? Each application takes time and care to fill out, and it's usually the same information over and over again. Wouldn't it make sense to have a central system where you're vetted once a year, receive a clearance number, and can present that wherever you work or volunteer? It could really cut down on admin time while still keeping the system safe and reliable. I'm not saying vetting shouldn't be done, just that maybe it could be done smarter. What do others think? Is this something we could lobby to improve? A more streamlined system that actually talks to each other? Yeah, that proposal does make some sense. I'm not sure of, obviously, having to get the Garda vetting done every time you do apply for something. There is a reason for that, but we'll be discussing that issue on our Community Garda slot in the coming weeks. We're going to take another quick break and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 20th of October. You're playing on the green sheet for the daily prize of €400. The reference number is S11. It's game number 43. The numbers are 39, 1, 52, 7, 43, 46, 30, 60, 2, and finally 4. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, work. Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, work. Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, truck! You never know what's coming. Slow down on rural roads. A message from the Road Safety Authority. Visit rsa.ie.
Begin your next journey with Volvo at our 261 sales event. Experience our range of fully electric cars, including the updated EX40 with enhanced specification, or explore our full range of advanced hybrid cars. Take advantage of personal contract finance plans and drive home with excellent purchase contribution offers. Visit McKinley Motors during the 261 sales event to see the full range in person. Browse our range of offers available now on volvocars.ie. Terms and conditions apply.
You want a little treat but not chocolate or gelato? Check out this coffee that we made called Bravato. Sit and sip it slowly, or if you're in a rush, it tastes as good on foot or while you wait for the bus. Deliciously different. Get your new favorite cup. If you want some roasted goodness, come hit us up. Your taste buds have voted. They want a flavor that's goated. They are ready to thrive. Now Bravato's arrived. Deliciously different. Find your nearest store at bravado.com.
This Christmas, make it a night to remember at Century Complex. Choose from one of 3 packages: Jingle and Mingle, Feast and Fun, or Taste and Toast for festive dining, fun activities and cocktails. Available from November 28th for groups of 5 or more. Call us on 074 91 21976 or visit centurycinemas.ie for more information.
Now, this week, the country will take to the polls to select the next president of Ireland. It's a 2-horse race with Heather Humphreys and Catherine Connolly in the running. But a man who is no stranger to covering elections is John McAteer, editor of the Tyrconnell Tribune. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Michaela. How are you?
Good. Are you excited or not, John?
It's difficult to get excited. It's very difficult to get excited. We're into the final days of the polls. It's a 4-week race. And it has never reached any great heights of any intellectual debate or discussion. I suppose the debate has got dragged down to a great extent by accusations, mainly coming from the Heather Humphreys team, perhaps not from herself as such, but it seems over the weekend and ever since Thursday night or Thursday morning when the Ipsos MRBI poll came out for the Irish Times showing that Heather Humphreys was on 20% as opposed to 38 for Catherine Connolly and 5 for Gavin. The campaign has ramped up in a very, very negative manner.
Do you think this indicates desperation from Heather Humphreys?
Oh, definitely. Heather Humphreys, as a cabinet minister and as a politician, has been a very outgoing, a very, very nice person, a very friendly person. She seemed the campaign team seems to have just put that aside and just gone for the jugular here. just thinking about, the whole issue of Saturday and yesterday. Catherine Connolly been called on to reveal the details of the housing repossessions that she represented as a member of the bar, knowing fine well, and this has been articulated by some very senior barristers in recent days, but I talked to a senior barrister last night and they simply just said that all of those issues are totally confidential and barristers are duty bound to keep the details of their clients in total confidence. Otherwise, their behaviour will be called into question. And the only circumstance where that can be changed is if a court order would deem it necessary, that it would be a benefit to the general public. That doesn't happen. So where this campaign is going, there's a video out this morning that I haven't seen yet. So this is just a very dirty tricks campaign. And Catherine Connolly has done nothing to deserve that. I'm not saying that Heather Humphreys fully supports what's going on here, but it looks like the whole public relations team of Fine Gael is lined up to shoot down Catherine Connolly's attempt to get into the presidency.
And in fairness to Catherine Connolly, she's been met with so many different things. Her trip to Syria has been raised, and her employment of someone who had a firearms conviction. This has all been thrown at her, and I suppose she did expect this. And, she does seem to have handled that relatively well and has moved on from it.
She hasn't been allowed to move on from it because you see, we're into a whole campaign of negativity. She has probably in many ways, and I'm not a big fan of either Catherine Connolly or Heather Humphreys, but I suppose at the end of the day, we'll go to the polls and we'll vote for one of them, and they'll make fine presidents. It is this attack, and it just smacks of total negativity that the presidency deserves better than that, as the highest office in the land.
Yeah.
Catherine Connolly has been articulate, probably not as much as she should be at times. I suppose she has hesitated on the television debates, and she has taken time to consider things that probably, with better advice, she would have just confronted those things head on, because she would have the experience and the expertise to do that. Heather Humphreys is from a very different gene pool of senior Fine Gael politicians, a government minister for 10 years, and she was a delight to meet, and she touched base so well with communities. That has all gone out the window.
Yeah.
And I think it has damaged her campaign immensely. And
do you think this is obviously coming from the background team, as opposed to, I've heard, as you mentioned there, Heather Humphreys, I've heard so many people that have met her saying that she is such a lovely lady, but then we obviously have this element of the campaign now.
That was going to build up that way because it was there probably in the background before Thursday's poll results came out. Catherine Connolly took control of that very first debate with Humphreys and Jim Gavin by being her own quiet self and just responding to the questions and not using any brickbats or throwing any doubts or casting any shadows on anybody. She won that debate hands down. Heather Humphreys effectively went missing on that debate, and Jim Gavin was just very overactive and probably not articulating his point of view all that well. So the presidency got off to that kind of an unusual start, and then, of course, Gavin was forced to stand down, and it became just a contest between the two remaining candidates. It was almost a game of three halves. But no, the electorate will deliver their verdict, and I think people will have to reflect on where they're at and how they handle this thing. And I mean, headlines for the sake of headlines in national papers doesn't win elections for you.
Yeah.
That's where Fine Gael has been at with this. And Michaela Martin then rowing into it yesterday at the Bodenstown celebrations. And, at that point, he was just launching a veiled attack on Catherine Connolly. That you're either a European or you're not. He was almost talking about, you can't be in opposition to the EU project. Not to be further from the truth. I mean, we're not living in a unitary state where one party controls everything and nobody else is involved. And that was the veiled trait that I was getting from him yesterday.
And I suppose
where we go from that now in these few days, it'll not. I don't think it'll get any better.
Mm. But in terms of voter sentiment, John, there seems to be no momentum here at all.
There never was from day one.
Mm.
That goes to the selection process, and we've talked about this before. You know, there's about 7 years to prepare for this election, knowing fine that it's going to come up exactly with 7 years, unless one of the incumbent presidents resigns or dies in office or something like that there. But it seems pretty obvious that the terms around the selection of candidates is out of date. And herein lies a big, big problem. It's a constitutional problem. The same applies to the number of TDs in the Dáil. We could have 190 after the next election. They'll be coming out of the ceiling because there's nowhere else for them to go. These things have needed reform for the past 25 years. You know, the Constitution was from 1937 at a completely different time. Communications and contact and messaging with people didn't exist. So we've never looked again at it.
Mm.
Now is going to be the time once this election is over. The other one that's been drawn into this year is ever since the Good Friday Agreement, there was a lot of talk, a lot of sentiment that the people of Northern Ireland should have a vote in the presidential election.
Mm.
They're as further away from getting a vote in it as they were in 1998 when the Good Friday Agreement came in. And I think that in itself is one issue that should have been tackled. It would have given a whole new dimension to inclusivity for the people of Northern Ireland.
Because so many people in the North, you know they can't vote in the presidential election, but they look at the president as their president.
Do, of course, and you see the positivity for them is that they want to vote and they want to be part of it.
Mm.
There's no good reason why they can't be. There's been no commission set up. There's been nothing happening except just stonewalling all the way. It's the same with the border poll, although that's a much bigger issue. But you know, it's 20 years after the Good Friday Agreement, we've done nothing to set up a single.
Are you there, John? Did your line drop? I think John's line dropped there, so we might maybe try and get him back again. But yeah, as John was saying there's no real excitement at all. You know, I remember obviously the local and the general election, there was great momentum, and for weeks, you know, we're 4 days out from whenever people can cast their vote, and you know, for weeks there was such momentum, there was such a build up, but there just doesn't seem to be. And even there's some figures which show past election voter turnout. So in 1990 the voter turnout was 64.1%. In 1997 it was 47.6%, and in 2011 it was 56.1%, and the last presidential election was 43.9%. So it just shows the interest dropping, and you know, I suppose we've seen that in different elections as well. John, you're back on the line there.
Yeah, I'm back again. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on this morning.
You're fine. Me either. We're having technical issues all around.
Yeah. The reality here is, Michaela, that voter sentiment has been falling across general elections, local elections, and presidential elections. And there's probably reasons for that. There are probably reasons that are outside of our control, and that the electoral register may be seriously out of kilter. The new electoral director has offered the opinion last year that it may be oversubscribed by 500,000 people. Okay. Now that would have a major impact.
Yeah.
On, first of all, on the population, on the dynamic of the constituencies, and all of that thing, and on the number of TDs. No, you're saying that 43.9, just under 44% the last time.
Yeah.
We've been estimating that it's going to be down by as much as 10% at this time, unless there's a real landslide of support either way.
Mm.
There's no sentiment out there. Nobody wants to talk about the presidency. They see no purpose in it, and they see no point in it. Do we want a presidency or do we not? Like, that needs to be a debate. Do we need a presidency or do we not?
Mm.
You know, like, at the end of the day, if it's worth having a presidency, then we have to look at the work of the president. I think Michaela Martin, as a Taoiseach, has failed to do anything about that. He's been Taoiseach and Leo Varadkar as well, and Enda Kenny, and now Simon Harris. They have not addressed that crisis, because if the numbers turning up at the polling stations fallen to 40%. There's a real crisis.
Yeah.
And
that's a clear
7 years
message
to
from
waffle.
the people. Yeah, people use their vote to send their message, but not using their vote is obviously another clear message that there's no interest in this, and something needs to be done.
There's a very clear message around. This is the first time I've heard this. There was a lot of criticism of the selection process that's out there, where people like Maria Steen and people like that were denied getting on the ballot paper. Now that is well within the constitutional limits to do that. Simon Harris imposed a whip on the Fine Gael members not to support any candidate other than Fine Gael. Fianna Fáil probably didn't do that officially, but unofficially they probably just weren't going to vote for another candidate anyway.
But
the public are reading into that. The public are reading into that. A very sceptical public is reading into that this is a very inclusive club, and if you don't belong to mainstream politics, then you don't belong in the race for the presidency. Catherine Connolly bucked that trend by going very early last July, putting her stall out there. She had no real support at the time, and gradually, by going out and putting in a very, very big campaign behind the scenes to garner support from that broader left bloc, and with Sinn Féin finally coming on board, that gave her campaign a very, very big strength. But she had people before Profit, she had Labour, she had the Social Democrats, and she had all of the left bloc right behind her.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that the main party leaders see that carried into a general election as being a serious threat. So they've got to try and confront it and to try and stop it. Can they do that now? I think the campaign right now is more about how can we stop this, and that how can we elect the best candidate, how can we sort of encourage the electorate to go out and vote on Friday.
Yeah.
And all we can do is just join and advise the people. Whatever you do, go out and vote, because we fought very hard for 800 years to have that right to our own democratic principles.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Yeah, that no matter who you're going to vote for, you need to use that vote.
You see, there's no real issues have emerged in this campaign. Interest or enthusiasm.
I think I'm actually losing John again there, unfortunately. That was editor of the Tyrconnell Tribune, John McAteer, who is one of the most knowledgeable people on elections that I have ever met. So he was just given his insight into how the presidential election campaign is going so far. And obviously we only have two candidates here. I feel that there's just been, as I was saying, no momentum at all. But maybe, we didn't have anybody locally throwing their name into the hat. And, Pearse Doherty was... his name was lobbied around, but I suppose that kind of gave us an interest here in Donegal. But 4 days until people can have their say. Lots of you have been in touch on the matter. I'm voting neither of the two, but the reality is Connolly represented the Vulture Fund banks and nothing can change that. Shame Sinn Féin for supporting her. Pearse may keep his mouth shut in future about banks, says that listener. Had Marie Steen stood, she would have won the popular vote in Donegal and possibly the presidency. If this post has to have any future credibility, the nomination system has to change dramatically, where the public get a say in who can stand, not just the political elite. That's what John was saying, that obviously, the voter turnout is dropping consistently, and he expects it to drop again this time out. So, it's a clear sign that, John was saying about the selection process, that needs to be reviewed. Catherine Connolly and other listeners said the presidency should not be associated with a political party. Why are the people who are canvassing for her wearing Sinn Féin jackets? Well, I suppose Sinn Féin have endorsed her as the candidate that they're supporting, so I suppose why would they not wear Sinn Féin jackets? Hello, that man is so right. Heather has people round her that are not nice. Catherine is coming across as a very decent human being. Votes in this house will go to Catherine. Thank you, says that listener. Another more money from the taxpayers' wages in relation to the president. And the Catherine Connolly campaign should seriously investigate Heather Humphreys and her husband's involvement and attendance in Orange Lodges. Last week at Lifford Roundabout, I noticed 4 posters for Heather Humphreys, and they were defaced with a large X in Carrigart and Downings. There are no posters for Heather. Joe McHugh, former Fine Gael minister, and Noel McBride, former Fine Gael county councillor, live here. Has Fine Gael no respect for their candidate? Well, I presume this was led from a national level, so I don't know what involvement people would have had here locally. Another listener says Catherine Connolly is a left-leaning candidate. When the left have a disagreement, they get angry and retaliate. Enoch Burke encountered Catherine Connolly at the weekend. Catherine's supporters got angry and physical with Enoch then. We also saw this at the protest in Letterkenny. The left don't like it when people disagree with them. Just look at them shooting Charlie Kirk in the neck because they disagreed with him. The left get violent if they don't get their way. Well, that's the view of that listener. Another listener says the question that needs to be asked for our 2 female candidates for President of Ireland. I know this sounds crazy, but what is a woman? What is a woman? Mainstream media is not touching it. It's over social media. Where do they stand on gender fluid? We are down to 2 candidates for president. One, the official Safe Hands regime candidate who will never rock the boat on EU corruption, while the other one has some still unanswered questions dealing with her repossessions of homes while working for the British banks. Can Ireland simply not do better? It does not say anything for democracy in the real world. That's the view of another listener there. We're going to take another quick break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Dunn Stores is making dinner easier with brand new options like our delicious breaded chicken range. Choose from wings, bites or crispy tenders. All 100% Irish and available in flavours like southern fried or hot and spicy. Any 2 for €10. Or try our new ready meals with dishes like turkey meatballs and tomato ricotta pasta or Thai chicken curry. Any 2 for €8.50. Plus, you can save more with your 10.50 voucher. Dunn Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop.
How are things? How's the family? How are you? How can I help?
When it comes to supporting people living with dementia, it starts with asking how. Because how is a small word, but this social connection makes a big difference. So if you know someone affected by dementia, check in with them and learn more about how you can help build dementia-inclusive communities at understandtogether.ie from the HSC.
Dad, who's Nissan?
Who?
Nissan. Uncle Pork said Nissan. There should be a mighty deal on his cool new car.
Nissan. His new Nissan. Oh yeah, he did get a mighty deal.
Uncle Porg is right. Get 4K your way today. Choose a €4,000 finance contribution or a 4K trade-in bonus on a new Nissan. It's a mighty deal, however you say it. See nissan.ie for details. Nissan. Defy ordinary. Terms and conditions apply.
You know the way your energy bill turns up and you start doing maths you haven't touched since the Leaving Cert? Yeah, not with Energy. With Energy, you get monthly bill predictions, track what you're using by the hour, and even see where you're overspending.
It's the tumble dryer. It's always the tumble dryer.
With Energy, it's all in the app. Simple as. So instead of guessing, you're actually managing your energy. Energy. You just know. ROI only. 18 plus. T's and C's apply. See unoenergy.ie.
Are you a farmer looking to grow your business? Get up to €75,000 with Cultivate, our competitive unsecured agricultural loan. Visit us today at Inishowen, Ballybuffet and Stranraer or Lifford Credit Union. Credit Unions of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Now, welcome back to the 9 till noon show. I'm joined now in studio by Brian Marshall, who is the PRO of Toastmasters in Letterkenny. Good morning to you, Brian.
Good morning, Michaela. How are you?
I'm good. So I suppose, Brian, for anybody who doesn't know, what is Toastmasters?
We would describe Toastmasters as the biggest self-help club for improving your public speaking skills in the world.
And who avails of this?
Oh, we've got everybody from doctors in the hospital to students to... I'm an ex-farmer. We have got dental technicians. We have got absolutely everybody.
Yeah. So I suppose anybody who needs to communicate at all. So anybody that is interested, what kind of resources or classes as such do you provide to people?
Toastmasters itself, once you've decided to join, and we never put any pressure on guests to join. Guests can come to our meetings for a couple of times. They'll be invited to join after that. But after they do join, there is an online program called Pathways.
Okay.
Pathways takes your public speaking journey. It can be designed to your own specific needs. So if you're somebody in a team at work and wants to communicate, or if you're a leader that wants to actually be able to organize your speeches and presentations to your workforce, we can cater for that. And the Pathways program takes you from basics of public speaking right through to leadership skills if you need those.
Yeah, and that's perfect, I think, because I always say to people, like, I know I do this job, but I couldn't get up in a room and speak in front of the amount of listeners that we have. I would be really daunted by that. So I suppose that's great because, you know, there's so many different elements. People can tailor it exactly. You know, I'm a grand communicator, I think, but that front-facing thing of getting up in front of speaking to people, so that is good. You can tailor it to your own specific needs.
Yes, you can tailor it to your own specific needs. We're not going to try to make a specific type of public speaker. We want you to be the best public speaker that you can be in your own style. We're not going to try to make you do this, do that, or do the other. We are trying to make you feel comfortable in your own style of presentation and your own style of delivery. And that's very important because we don't want to try to fit people into boxes.
Yeah. And aside from the programme, you have meetings as well every week here in Letterkenny. So what kind of things do you discuss at the meetings?
The meetings will be 3 parts. The first part will be prepared speeches. So that gives someone the chance to speak for between 5 and 7 minutes on a topic that they have researched, on a speech that they have written and to present. The second part of the meeting is what we call table topics. Table topics is where you speak on 10 seconds notice for up to 2 minutes on the topic that the topics master fires at you. This gives you the real experience of the life situation where you're put on the spot and you're asked to speak. So that's for up to 2 minutes. The third part of the meeting, we evaluate absolutely everything. So the speakers will be evaluated, the role takers in the meeting, from the timekeeper to the president to the actual person who takes the meeting, will be evaluated on their performance, because without feedback, we don't improve.
Yeah.
So the sheer repetitiveness of it gives you a continuity and allows you repeat. And the more you repeat, the more you stand up, the more you contribute to the meeting and speak, the better your public speaking confidence
makes people more
will
comfortable.
be.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the aim. So anybody interested in, you know, getting involved, say signing up for the programme or coming along to these meetings, how can people get in touch?
People can contact me, which my details are on our Facebook page. But if they just turn up, we invite people to come in. Or the first and third Tuesday of every month, Studio B at the community centre at 7:15. That's 7:15, first and third Tuesday of every month, Studio B at the community centre, and we invite everyone. Just come, make sure that it's right for you.
Yeah.
And then we'll invite you to join after a couple of meetings.
And I presume you'll be able to help those people to tailor their own, you know, you can identify their needs as well to help them tailor what they want from the programme.
Yes, and the actual pathway selection, whenever you go into the online to actually choose what sort of a pathway you progress on to your eventual aim, will have aims, and I will put it once, that you can choose the pathway that suits you. If your aim is to be a leader in a company, that'll be one pathway. If you just want to make a speech at a wedding,
Yeah.
or a eulogy at a funeral, which I've done myself,
Yeah.
that
Anything.
yes, you can do that. And there's competitions in it, that if you want to enter competitions and get that buzz
Yeah.
from competing in public speaking, there's 4 different types of competitions that you can enter as well.
Plenty of food for thought then.
Yes, plenty.
Brian Marshall, PRO of Toastmasters in Letterkenny, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And just a reminder that the meetings are the first and third Tuesday of the month in Studio B of the Community Centre in Letterkenny at 7:15 p.m.
That's this Tuesday.
That's this Tuesday. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Michaela.
This week, Highland Motors are going the extra mile by offering 0% finance or a €250 service voucher on all pre-owned cars. It's for 2 weeks only, and there's up to €5,000 in savings on certain models. That's until Friday, October the 24th at Highland Motors in Letterkenny on all pre-owned cars. Some terms and conditions apply. See the selection available at Highland Motors or call the sales team on 912877.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks, and personalised photo books, perfect to mark any occasion. There's also jigsaws, calendars, mugs, and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist Letterkenny.
Are you feeling stressed, in pain, or in need of a reset? Imagine a place where gentle healing vibrations, light and sound gently wash over you, nurturing both your body and mind, melting away tension and easing pain. This is possible at Beyond Light Therapy, designed to support deep relaxation, renewal, and your body's natural ability to heal. People report a sense of calm, improved mood, mental clarity, and renewed energy. At Beyond Light Therapy, where health begins, experience the first 60-unit energy enhancement system on the planet. Call us today to begin your journey.
What difference can changing your home heating make? Well, if you switch from oil to Keller gas, it's a bigger difference than you think. Because every new Keller customer gets a blend of our renewable gas, bio-LPG. Works like regular gas but with lower emissions. So now every cosy night in and instant hot shower is that bit cleaner, greener and more sustainable. Switch today and you'll also get a free boiler. Terms and conditions apply. Learn more at calorgas.ie. Keller, the energy that connects us.
If you want a great price on your insurance, make it happen at Hickey, Clarke and Langan Insurance Brokers in Letterkenny, where they compare quotes from all the leading insurers so you save money and time. Home, car or van, farm, commercial or public liability, they cover it all. Call 9126688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clarke and Langan, the local name you can trust, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhinneys.com today.
Today's weather, sunny spells and showers after some early mist and fog patches. Highest temperatures of 12 to 14 degrees with mostly light north to northwest winds backing west. Now, Gardaí will from this week be able to issue fixed charge notices for licence plate offences, and Garda Síochána Press Office confirmed the issuing of notices can now be facilitated by the Garda Mobility app. The move follows the passage of the 2023 Road Safety Act, which included penalties for drivers who do not comply with the law on appropriate front and back licence registration plates, including colour, shape, design and font. I'm joined now by Susan Gray, who is chairperson of the Park Road Safety Group. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Michaela.
So, Susan, this is obviously something you would greatly welcome.
Yes, it's great news today. we were contacted by a member of the public in June asking us to raise this with the government because it was a massive loophole. They were noticing a massive increase in illegal and non-compliant number plates. So the guards had said that they were still waiting on an amendment in the 2023 Road Traffic Act to be implemented by the Gardaí officials. They were waiting on them to update their ICT systems so that the Gardaí could issue fixed charge notices and summonses via their new mobility device that they got in 2019. So I contacted Deputy Emer Curry, Fingale TT, and she immediately raised it with our Justice Minister, Jim O'Callaghan. And his reply on the 8th of July was that he was informed by Garda officials that the Gardaí could not issue fixed charge notices for this offence, but that they were working on updating their ITC system, and it should be in play by the end of the year. So the same Deputy Curry then raised it at the Transport Committee on Road Safety on the 8th of October. And she raised it with the Deputy Commissioner and the Assistant Commissioner for Roads Policing who attended that meeting. And this is the result now, we believe, that a law that was passed over 2 years ago has finally been implemented. And now the Gardaí in the ground can, if they spot a vehicle with a number plate that's illegible or
Susan, would this have
non-compliant front and back.
Would this have related as well to automatic number plate recognition? Would that have been obscured by these number plates?
Of course it would, and the speed cameras as well. But they can't read your number plate. They can't issue a fixed charge notice. So it's Beggar's belief that it's 2 years after an amendment was put into the law that we're only getting that now. So over 2 years ago, a law came in whereby the guards could automatically see insurance policies, and by scanning your registration number, they could tell, without stopping you, they could tell if your insurance had lapsed or if you had an invalid insurance company, and then they would pull you over and prosecute you. But if they can't read the number plate, then they can't tell if your insurance is valid or not. And the same with the speed cameras. So this is a massive step forward, Michaela, for road safety. Massive. And the guards started implementing it now. So those that are disguising their number plate for whatever reason, the guards now have the ability to pull you over, issue a €60 fine if it's a legal front number plate, and another 60 for the back number plate. Now, €120 doesn't seem much, and you would think drivers won't be worried about that. They will be, because they can be pulled over now.
And the cost of, they have to replace them number plates then as well, so that's an additional cost on them.
Yeah, but the bigger picture here is when they're pulled over, the guards then can check their insurance disc and their license or their permit. They can discover other laws that you have broken. So once they can identify and pull you over, then it could open up a can of worms for some drivers that are breaking a lot of laws.
And I suppose that's the main point of this, that, we can crack down and improve road safety.
Yes, and we'd love to thank Marie O'Halloran, who covered this in front page of the Irish Times today, and Michael Murphy, who's the chair of the Oireachtas Transport Committee. He ensured that this issue was brought up on the 8th of October. And Emer Curry for asking the questions, because we don't think we may well be waiting a long time if this hadn't of, been pushed since June.
would have continued
And
the delays.
This is the way forward to work with. We will continue working with Deputy Curry and Deputy Michael Murphy and the media to highlight these things, because more often than enough, Michaela, it takes the media
that pressure
to home on what's happening to get these things over the line. It shouldn't be this way, but it seems to be very often it's the way forward. So
well, a positive step with that confirmation anyway. Susan Gray, chairperson of Park Road Safety Group, thank you so much for joining me this morning. We're going to take another quick break and we'll be back with the headlines at 11.
Les Miserables, the musical phenomenon, is touring the world in a spectacular new production. The Arena Spectacular comes to 3 Arena from May 29th to June 6th. Tickets from $33.65 go on sale Wednesday, October 22nd. May be subject to fees.
Thank you for attending this meditation session for badgers who forgot to check for gas pipes before digging, without knowing how disruptive it could be, putting others at risk and doing it unknowingly for all their working life. And it could have been avoided had they just checked in the first place. Let's begin.
Always check for gas pipelines before you break ground. Visit gasnetworks.ie/dig for more information.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your presidential candidate, Charlie's Chip. Vote for someone who's hand cut for the job and will bring a fresh approach to the table. A candidate who supports all buns, sauces and salads equally and will ensure better takeaways for everyone. If there's one chip that can change your future, this is it. Let's fry for a better future. Vote Charlie's Chip for president. Charlie's, open Tuesday to Saturday, Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
Here, would you look at Eco Enda? He's only after going and getting himself one of the new Skoda EVs.
First he went vegan, then he got solar panels, now this.
I'm sure he'd buy anything as long as he can get a grand for it.
Must be from that county beside Monaghan.
The new fully electric Skoda range. The kind of cars that get the neighbours talking. But only if you're quick. Check availability at skoda.ie. Skoda, let's explore.
Skoda. Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House, Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €1,700 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot tonight at 8:30.
Join me, Marty Friel, every Friday from 8 for Rocking Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7. Book a Christmas party with a difference. Enjoy bowling, a buffet and a DJ every Friday and Saturday night this December. That's Arena 7 Bowling this Christmas.
It is 11 o'clock and time for the latest news headlines with Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Michaela. Good morning. A meeting is to be held tomorrow evening to voice concerns in relation to residential parking and the implementation of a cycle lane in Ballymacool under proposed active travel plans. Part of the plans is to see land purchased down the street to construct a parking bay in lieu of the parking that's currently in place outside Ballymacool Terrace houses along the R250. The meetings take place at 7:30 tomorrow at the Station House Hotel. In light of the heavy fog and poor visibility this morning, Gardaí in Donegal are urging the public to be familiar with their front and rear fog lights. Drivers should be aware of how to switch them on and off and only use them when it's appropriate. Road users are also told to be aware of other drivers not using their headlights, keep a large distance away from the vehicle ahead and to maintain a safe stopping distance within their visibility range. A local councillor has condemned a case of illegal dumping on Boher and Champel in Gweedore. 8 black bin bags were discovered at the side of the road by walkers between Thursday evening last and Saturday morning. Councillor John Hamish O'Farry says the matter has now been reported to the litter warden, who will examine the contents of the bag in a bid to determine a culprit. Over €7,000 has been raised to date to see the installation of a defibrillator on Errigal Mountain. It's after Kyle Henderson died following a medical event while on a hike earlier this year. took almost an hour for land ambulance to reach him, with the nearest piece of life-saving equipment approximately the same distance away. A sponsored walk's taking place on Sunday morning in his memory in a bid to raise €10,000 for the cause. And finally, Donald Trump says Ukraine will have to give up territory in order to end the war with Russia. It follows a meeting with Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky last week and a phone call with Vladimir Putin. The US president had previously rode back on similar comments, saying Ukraine would emerge from the war in its original form. That's all for now. We'll be back with more headlines at 12 noon.
Hiya. Listen, you weren't kidding about pet insurance. I should have got it. Just had Piper at the vet's. She ate what is turning out to be the most expensive bar of chocolate of all time. Don't worry, she's fine. My bank account? Not so much.
Real life. Written by you, underwritten by Allianz. Protect your pet with 12% off new pet insurance policies at allianz.ie. Allianz PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Standard acceptance criteria and terms and conditions apply.
Hi, welcome back to the show. It's time now to join Brendan Devaney, presenter of the DL Debate. And Brendan, you're being well looked after already in here. Shannon's got you sorted.
And I'll tell you, just down the post there, the lights stay green. Do you know one of
right,
them ones
it's all happening for you this morning.
Yeah. I was thinking just green. I says I'm looking at the time,
yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I could have been done there. So the lights were carrying.
Well, you wouldn't have been done now, Brendan. You would have been driving very safely.
I mean, I wouldn't have made it there.
All right,
sorry.
Cheekers.
No, the days. No speeding anymore. I'm sensible now. Yeah. Don't want you get on a wee bit. Well, you don't know, but I do.
Well, I'm still getting on. Anyway. So what has been happening this weekend? Another busy weekend, Brendan.
Yeah, another busy weekend. Carol Kane's going to come on the show. Derry county final was yesterday. Newbridge, who I don't know, Michaela, a massive break in terms of championship. They did it back to back, which really rubber stamps them being the best team in Derry. They beat Marafelt yesterday. Carol's coming on to talk about that. There's a couple of other results in Ulster as well. The Monaghan Championship still to be played. That's the winners that's playing Niamh Connell. That's not the next week. So quite a break for the Niamh Connell guys. It's a month from they would have played the county final. They play the winners of Scottstown and Niskeen. And Glenfin ladies were in the championship yesterday, Ulster Championship against Errigal Kieran. They went down by a goal, just a very close game. It was close, 5 minutes to go. The sides was level. So Maria, my sister's on the show along with Maureen O'Donnell, talking a bit about that. And there was an inaugural Ladies Masters, first time ever. Oh. The 4 provinces played, and there was 5 Donegal girls playing for Ulster, and they won the competition. So the girls coming on to talk about
I think the Masters competitions are brilliant because it just gives, obviously, you've played your entire career, and obviously that love of the game never leaves you, so it's great to offer that opportunity. I know the Masters do quite well.
They do. Unfortunately beat the poor Donegal boys to final. Yeah, they won 5 in a row there, Michaela. So the Masters is a strange one because Tyrone's probably a bit different. There's often, say, a lot of players that have played county now aren't able to play for various reasons. Right. So what you have a lot of the Masters is good club players that have looked after themselves or genetically are just able to go well into their 40s. So yeah, but listen, it's a great competition. And I know, for example, I'm chatting to Oisin and Sean about it. There's a big Donegal Diaspora event happening in Philly next March. Oh, so they want Highland involved in it. And I see that the Donegal Masters are all booked to go.
Brilliant.
So Donegal Dubai, there's London, Philly, Boston, New York, I think Chicago, they're all meeting up.
That's a great event.
There might be even a few Tyrone guys end up in there because you wouldn't know. But yeah, it's a big event happening. But just when you mention the Masters, obviously that group that they have are all booked on together. So I suppose it creates that kind of thing.
It's like a reunion.
Yeah, well, when you stop playing, people always say, do you miss playing and that? To be honest, I think I'd done enough playing probably now. I was cut a wee bit short with injury. But I probably would have missed the lads and that more. You always had, there's always so much crack around teams.
The camaraderie. But then I suppose you have this now, your commentary and the DL debate. That keeps you in the game as well.
It does. Listen, honestly, going to games there, the crack with the people. See, when football went pretty poor as a spectacle for a long time, I still really enjoy going because see when you go up the press area, all the different like GA reporters is there and the different people covering the games at local level. And then when you get up in the county, you know, when you're going to Clones, Crow Parks and that, like I think it's brilliant to be involved at all in that. I always think very blessed to be involved and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, they're great times. Of course, the last couple of years with Donegal, we've been in some run, and but I was texting Jim over and back there just this last while, and you know, sometimes, and I know he's aware of it, but see that All-Ireland final weekend, and I know it went bad for us on the pitch, but see the amount of Donegal people were brought back together and the crack.
What it did for the county.
Yeah, and we were all up in Dublin, and the amount of people from all over the world was in there. So even
and I'm sure it's very hard for like Jim and the rest of the team to get out of that, you know, after you lose in the game, but to realise, you know, the support that they had and how much momentum there was in the county.
Yeah, I was just texting him, did he want to talk about the context of it? You're right, Michaela, because like there was a lot thrown at Donegal because of the way we lost the game. No one could really pick these two teams apart, and Gary's tactics and how they played in the day, you know, no one expected that level of victory or that level of dominance. Yeah. So that was a very hard thing for Donegal to take. But when you context it back to the 2 years, the two Ulsters, All-Ireland semi-final and a final, I mean, for us, say from the season before or even a couple of seasons before that, we didn't look like we were going to get to something like an All-Ireland semi. We always had the potential to win an Ulster, but the fact that we won back-to-back and was in the semi and a final, you know, in terms of that, it was an unreal season, unreal couple of seasons again with Jim, and you know, he just says he was keeping the head down, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
So my last text was, I can't wait to see your plan for next year, because listen, Jim is hugely deep in this, as we know, and the new rules and all that was such a different season.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing Donegal next year coming back, because I know, you know, he'll have plans in place for, say, what happened in the final. Something like that doesn't happen again.
And I suppose getting his head round those rules and everything now into the next season. Starts early, does it?
Well, it started the second last Sunday in January, was it, or February? When did it start? It started just at the end
You're
of
the
January.
expert, Brendan.
Well, my memory's not that great these days. I was thinking back. The season started very early, but they cut out the McKenna Cup because it would cause too many games into the start of the year. Because I remember just. A lot of people were saying they were a bit cold going into the league, that they didn't really have a pre-competition in that. But the way things is now, Michaela, the sideways nature of things, and like that's a big talking point around with Donegal people at the minute. And I was on the county board as well, that the fact there's a month's break to our game with the Monaghan champions, because our championship was very good this year. Everybody really loved it, but the one big problem was the sideways nature of it. Yeah. And particularly, I think, you know, there should have been a week in between the pre-quarter or the quarter and the semi at least. I mean, 1 week. Because if we had 4 weeks to spare, as it turns out, then teams were playing pre-quarter. I mean, Termon's a great example. They beat St. Eunan's. They should have had time to kind of enjoy that. They had to get ready for a semi-final. I mean, you've called a week later. I think there should have been a break. I mean, last year, even when I was in charge of Eunan's, like Leave Conlon and us, we obviously had the big ding-dongs. We beat them in a semi-final. You're playing a semi or a quarter-final, playing a semi-final next week. So I can't understand why we didn't at least use an extra week in their championship, and I suppose it's something we can look at for next year.
Going forward. So you mentioned, Brendan, Maureen O'Donnell's coming up, and your sister Maria, and Cahir O'Kane, and Ryan Ferry's on with you as well.
Ryan Ferry, award-winning Ryan Ferry, surely he's just down the road there in the Donegal News HQ. Yeah, Ryan, we're going to just talk about the championship come back and things like that, because you know, like the way we playing week on week. In terms of, there wasn't a rush going into Ulster. I thought Ulster was maybe going to be 2 weeks after the final, and maybe they allow for a potential replay. And again, we had extra time in that final. I'm looking around at I've seen 5 county finals now that have been draws around the country, and they're all replays.
Right.
We went into extra time. Listen, Leave Conlon won't be complaining. They'll be happy enough. But Ryan picked his team of the year as well there, is 15. So I'm going to throw a couple of curveballs at him to see why this boy didn't get on that. Listen, that's all part of the crack.
Yeah, perfect. So that is after the 7 o'clock news this evening and available on highlandradio.com as well.
That's the one, Michaela.
Great. Thanks, Brendan.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
PTSB has Ireland's lowest rate for personal loans, from 25 to 75,000 euro. So from new wheels to home renovations, we're here for your next highlight. Apply today at ptsb.ie. PTSB, altogether more human. Lowest rate source ccpc.ie, 18 September 2025, excluding green loans. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply, subject to affordability assessment. Security may be required. Over 18s only. Warning, if you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit, a hire purchase agreement, a consumer hire agreement, or a BNPL agreement in the future. Permanent TSB PLC trading as PTSB is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
For your business, order branded diaries now at BizPrint. Call 9177955 or visit bizprint.ie. BizPrint, for all your promotional needs.
If you're fitting a new kitchen or replacing some tired appliances, now's the time with the Ben Sweeney Euronics Kitchen Bundle. Get a single oven and hob, integrated dishwasher and fridge freezer, wash machine and tumble dryer, all for just €2,000. Other kitchen bundles are available on request. Call us today or visit Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road Letterkenny, in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
You value healthy choices in season and on their plates with Lidl Plus. The delicious crunch of the crop. Fresh broccoli 44% off, now 89¢. And leave them bursting with joy with juicy white grapes 41% off, now 169. Lidl, more to value.
Pedio thread lifts and skin boosters, which rejuvenate the skin by improving facial contours, lifting and tightening the jowls, neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. To choose the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. 07495 325 75.
Shekelatha ama Highland Radio. Arna Dortugat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus Forbor an go letrahas na Héireann. Airgrid. Pobal a guachtu, era a guachtu. Teshe.
The time is 14 minutes past 11 now. On this morning's Monday Focus, we're looking at the campaign Choose Your Change to Stop Food Waste in 2025. I'm joined now by Odell LeBullock, who is Food Waste Prevention Team Lead with the EPA. Good morning to you, Odell.
Hi, Michaela. How are you today?
I'm good. So I suppose in relation, we know we need to stop food waste, but this campaign that you're running now this year, what's the main aim of it?
Well, I suppose what we find is obviously that people are don't want to waste food. And in particular, we do know like food has gone so expensive, especially with inflation on food items. So really what we're just trying to do is provide help for people. And it's kind of just reminders, because things about not wasting food, we estimate it's probably around €700 a year that people waste in terms of food. And that's a really conservative estimate that, depends on your household. Amount. If you've got kids, it's probably even more than that. And so really what we're trying to do is just provide some reminders around some handy tips that people can do to help them reduce food waste and save money ultimately.
Yeah, because I suppose myself, I'm kind of guilty of every weekend doing the grocery shopping, trying to plan for the week ahead. But sometimes, the dates on food, sometimes I forget to check them and it could be out of date by the time I reach the day that I'm meant to eat whatever, the chicken, whatever it is. And I suppose that all feeds into this, I need to be more conscious as well when I'm picking food.
And that's the thing, like we do surveys, we ask people, we do nationally representative surveys to help understand a little bit around why people waste food. And one of the top reasons people say they waste food is that the day, the use by date has passed. So really it's, they don't use it on time. And I suppose, around that, there's lots of things. Look, plans change, that's life is busy. We're not, and there's little things people can do. It's even just get into the habit of opening your fridge every morning and seeing what's in there and what needs to be used, because like that sometimes things get lost at the back of the fridge, or you just don't think. You run out the door, you're gone, you don't remember what you've got in there. But if you've opened the door that morning and just had a little look and said, oh my goodness, there is chicken in
Yeah.
there. And if you're not going to use the chicken, pop it in the freezer, and that gives you time then to use it when you do have time to use it, because you can freeze food right up until it's used by date. And I think sometimes we forget that,
Okay.
and we kind of get caught up. Oh no, not going to use that. Might as well just throw it away. And meat in particular is so expensive that
Yeah.
this is something we really could save a lot of money by not wasting.
And whenever you say that figure of €700 every year, people, that €700 could go so far in other elements to pay for electricity, to pay for fuel. That's money that you just can't simply waste.
Yeah, and like it's funny, I suppose about 5 or 6 years ago we were talking about this, and you were kind of going, "Oh, look, that could pay for a nice holiday." But nowadays, this is actually your day-to-day spending,
Yeah.
and it's like it's not luxury anymore. This is money that we could be using, as you say, for your heating, for electricity. So it's really important, and I think most of us are kind of conscious. One of the things that we do actually recommend to people is maybe for a week just jot down the things that you are throwing away, because sometimes a lot of people, we think we don't waste a lot. And, but actually, if you start to add it all up,
Mhm.
that's when you start to see actually it is a lot. And maybe there's something in particular that you have issues with, like bread. Bread is one of the top things that people throw away quite a lot. You buy it, it's all lovely and crusty and beautiful smell when you go into the supermarket, and then you bring it home and then it doesn't really get used. So even that, maybe to understand a little bit more about your habits around,
Mm.
can you freeze some of it? Maybe not all of it. You keep some out, use it, and then freeze some of it. Similarly, things like fruit and veg. So I think, understanding a little bit more about your own patterns and your own habits, because it
Mhm.
won't be the same for everyone. And this is kind of what we say, especially if you've got kids, maybe get them to help out, that you just, before you put it into your little caddy, just jot it down. And as it starts to add up for the week, even have a look and see, well, actually, like a packet of ham, sort of, we throw away 3 slices after
Mhm.
we open a pack of ham every time. These kind of things, and think around ways that maybe you can either use it up, or can you buy smaller package sizes, or freeze part of it? All of these kind of things that we just need to start thinking about, and just little things that they're simple,
Yeah,
but
they're
you
really
need to think.
small. It's just being conscious of these, and that's such a small thing to try and remember. Buy a smaller packet of ham, but it can make such a huge difference.
Yeah, and actually one of the things that we do see with the surveys that we do is we do tend to just buy the same things all the time. So we don't really know whether we need it or not, but it's like, oh yeah, I always buy ham, so I'm
Yeah.
going to buy ham this week. So even that, being a bit more mindful, and if you get into the habit of looking in your fridge every morning, you'll know what you have. So you'll be a little bit more mindful then about your shopping. But what we do, actually, the best thing you can do is, if you follow us on social media at stopfoodwaste.ie, we'll remind you about these things, because, as I said, it's not rocket science. It's
Mhm.
really simple things, but sometimes you just need to remember to
Yeah.
do it. And this is kind of what we're trying to do with on our channels, is just, give you a quick reminder. Have you checked your fridge today? Do you know what you're eating this evening? That kind of thing. And even, sometimes people say, oh, do a meal plan, but like most people are too busy to be doing things like that. But
Mhm.
even just know what you're going to eat today and tomorrow. They're even that kind of definitive. And you might have things that you've seen in your fridge that morning that you need to use, and you go, well, actually, that's what we're eating tonight now,
Mhm.
guys. This is what's on the table this
Yeah.
evening, because
Decision
it
made.
needs to be used up. Yeah.
And Odell, have you seen an increase in food waste, or do you think people are becoming a bit more conscious?
I think in households, people are becoming a bit more
Mhm.
conscious. And actually, one of the really interesting things, we saw during COVID, that people were, because they were at home and they were, remember, if we remember rightly, you couldn't get certain food, that all those behaviors around using what you have and not buying too much, they were, people really got them down to a T. So it actually shows we can do them when we have to. So what we do see now is kind of the level of food waste coming in our bins. It's fairly static, and something big is going to need to happen to kind of shift it. But I think the thing to remember is not only householders, like businesses need to play their part too. And, we do work with businesses as well as householders. So it's just to kind of be mindful that people, we all need to play our part if we're going to reduce food waste. And, we've got quite significant targets that we have to reduce food waste by 50% by 2030. And even if you bring that down and look at that in your own household, like halving your food waste is quite a significant task. So I think everyone needs to be mindful and everyone needs to play their part in it as well.
Because not only, as you alluded to there, does it have an impact on the pocket, it has an impact on emissions as well. And that's, the 2030 targets.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, this is one of the reasons, we have targets, is that there's a significant environmental impact from food waste. And it's not only the actual waste, which we have to do something with, but if you think about it, like to get food on our table, the amount of resources that are gone in to make that food, and you have, it goes from the farmer's time to fertilizer to water, then it's been harvested, it's been transported, it's been refrigerated, and in some cases it's even been cooked. And then only just to go and throw all that away. Like you've got all the embedded resources in there that have been wasted. So it's not only kind of the emissions, but it's the waste of resources just to throw food away. So I think it's really important that people are mindful of that, because often we tend to think of, you put your food waste in your brown bin and it goes to be composted, which is great. That's the perfect way to manage food waste. But if it wasn't wasted in the first place, is even better, because you haven't wasted all the resources that have gone into it. And some of it is just through our habits where, it's been unnecessarily wasted. And it's that kind of food waste that we really do need to be more conscious about.
And you mentioned some of those tips, Odell. So where can people find out more information?
The best place to start with is our website, which is stopfoodwaste.ie. And then, as I mentioned, if they follow us on social media, we're on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll get your weekly tips there that just kind of remind people about all the tips. So they're the best places to start to find us. Great.
Odell LeBullock, food waste prevention team lead with the EPA. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I suppose we definitely all could take a few of them tips. And it's even as simple as, I used to buy raspberries, but I find they went out of date far too quickly, maybe within a day after bringing them home. So I just don't buy raspberries anymore. But it's different, tips like that Odell was highlighting there that we can all implement and hopefully make a difference. We'll be back again in a couple of minutes.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Discover Centra Simple Savers, your haunt for fantastic everyday value. Like Lucozade 6-bottle pack range, €4 plus deposit. Selected Cadbury pouches like Twirl Bites, $2.50 each. And Dada and Connoisseur wine ranges, €8 each. Enjoy frightfully good value on all your favourites. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Les Miserables, the Arena Concert Spectacular, is coming to 3 Arena for 10 performances only from May 29th to June 6th, following sold-out dates across the world. Tickets from $33.65 go on sale this Wednesday at 12 noon. Maybe subject to fees.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold! And ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Thinking about changing your car? Making the change is easier than ever at Kelly's Toyota, thanks to Toyota Approved Used. Choose from our extensive range of used passenger and commercial vehicles, including 242 and 251 demo models at great prices. Tested and approved by Ireland's most trusted car brand. All our cars come with a 12-month comprehensive warranty with flexible payment options available. Talk to Kelly's Toyota today. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, got some old household electrical appliances or batteries lying around?
Recycle them for free with We Ireland in partnership with Donegal County Council at our special collection day on Saturday 25th of October in Falcarra at Dennis McCallion's yard from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll accept anything household with a plug or battery. See weeireland.ie.
Forward Festival presents The Big Hully, featuring Whistling Donkeys, All Folked Up, Derek Warfield and Young Wolf Tones, Danny Byrne Band and High Flying Paddies. Bank Holiday Saturday, 25th of October. The Marquee Letterkenny at Kiltoy. Tickets available from forwardfestival.ie.
Now, the Glenties Town Centre First Plan, a draft version of that has been published, and it includes plans for the regeneration and renewal, a focused master plan aimed at strengthening the role, image, vibrancy, vitality and resilience of Glenties Town Centre. I'm joined by Vincent Cranley, who's a member of Glenties Town team. It's an exciting time for the town, Vincent.
It is, Michaela. Thanks for having me. It's exciting, surely, because I suppose this plan is all about giving the community their chance to, provide their ideas, their inputs in terms of where the town goes, how it develops going forward.
And in terms of this draft plan, what is included in that?
This is a very wide-ranging scope. So to take it a step back, I suppose the consultants, GM Designs, were appointed, and they were tasked with scoping out the town. They carried a survey, they walked around, they met business owners, they met the public on the street. They examined everything from, all aspects, we'll say from the road infrastructure right through to vacancy dereliction, through to potential opportunities. And from that, they developed this draft plan. So that's their take on what they found on the ground. Mm-hmm. And then that informed, that allowed the public then to answer a questionnaire at the time. So that was kind of phase one on what they seen was the initial problems, and then that fed back to GM, and then they created this first draft.
And we were talking there just before we came back on air. It's great for the town itself. They know that efforts are being made to enhance it for them, but for visitors to the area as well.
Very much so. Again, it's all about creating a better place for Glenties to live, mm-hmm. to work, to visit, to stay, and then to see what future opportunities are there as well.
And Glenties is, it has so much heritage. We have Brian Friel, we have the Laurels, and even the McGill Summer School that brings so many people every year. So it's just building upon that, but protecting that heritage as well.
Absolutely. That's exactly the core really around what this whole thing is built upon. So the town team that's established just over a year ago, you would have had people working kind of siloed approaches before, we'll say mm-hmm. like tidy towns groups or different community groups like that. They're doing fantastic work, but the idea of this is slightly different now. So this is creating a kind of an umbrella approach to the whole thing where all stakeholders are involved. You have the community groups, obviously, but you have business interests, you have the sports organisations, residents groups, all those. So they all get a chance to give their voice, we'll say, to inform how this plan is developed.
And as part of the town team, Vincent, what do you see, the place where you could start these improvements?
Well, I suppose if you look at the plan, the draft version of the plan as produced, the opportunities or the weaknesses are identified from the consultants, and they have experience in this, so they've done multiple versions of these in other towns and localities, so they kind of know, like we walk the street every day of the week, we might see certain things, but not everything from a third eye, we'll say. Yeah. So it's very comprehensive in terms of what is in the draft plan, and I would encourage everyone to have a look at it. And the idea of this is to provide your feedback on it, because this is your chance now to have your say in terms of what goes into this plan going forward.
And in terms of, some of the key areas of focus, improvements to derelict and underused properties, that's great for, locals that we had mentioned, and it just enhances the overall appearance and hopefully then would attract more people to maybe invest in the town as well. Very
much. So again, this takes a kind of a wide range, and it looks at the environmental, the economic, the cultural, all those different sectors. So it's about enhancing the streetscape from what's there already. As you say already, we're very fortunate. We have the Brian Friel Trust, the McGill School, all those things. a rich heritage of arts and literature that's there already. So it's building upon that, but to provide these structural enhancements around that to encourage future business, all those things that can let the town grow into the future.
Yeah, and Glenties is a great place in West Donegal. It's a great place to even base yourself. So I suppose that's one of the things too. It's a place you can base yourself, travel elsewhere in West Donegal, travel on to South Donegal. It's such a great area to enhance and to just make it a hub for people.
Definitely, and as you say that, I'm taken back to like historically Tidy Towns winners, from the 60s, multiple times Tidy Towns winners. So that was appreciated at a national level where people could see the beauty of Glenties. And if you take it then also from the economic side, it really was an economic hub in times gone by in the knitwear industry and things like that. So it is central. You're half an hour from most places. So from that perspective, it definitely we're very lucky where we are. We're very proud of where we're from. That kind of way, and it is recognised as being a nice place to live already. Yeah,
and I suppose that local knowledge, and you mentioned there that this is the point of this, to get people involved. How they foresee Glenties being developed.
Definitely. And, the way this has been worked is, some of the team have gone just today actually to go and meet the TY groups in the secondary school to get their voice, which is important.
That's a great element, yeah.
Yeah. The national schools, they had already completed surveys and there was some fantastic feedback from that, very visual in terms of what they would like to see or they want to see in Glenties.
That's amazing. They are the future, yes.
So they are. Now, some of the stuff was right off the cuff, but it's interesting.
Maybe it wouldn't be feasible.
No, but aim high, dream high, But no, it's very much about that. So really, the more diverse the response, the better, and that's really why we're on the street to meet with people. And we will be now towards the end of the week again, as we were saying earlier. This closes on Friday for public opinion. And for the Chancellor Public to give their feedback. So it's very important that, engage with us now because this is the place for your voice to be heard.
Yeah. So how can people then get in touch with yourselves if they want to get involved with this?
So obviously before the end of this week, when this closes, the website is the best place to go now. It's glentiestowncentrefirst.com. And on that, you'll find two links. One will be the plan itself, which it's very comprehensive when you see it. But then there's a second link then for you to give your comments and your feedback and your ideas also on that. But if you want to come and visit us on the street towards the end of the week, keep an eye on social media because if we do have other ideas of where we could pop up, we will publish it there as well.
Great. Vincent Cranley, a member of Glenties Town Team, thank you so much for coming in this morning, and definitely an interesting and exciting time for Glenties now. Thank you so much.
Discover the untamed charm of Ireland's West at the Radisson Blue Hotel and Spa Sligo. When the world quiets down, something inside awakens. Escape the ordinary, embrace the elements. Unwind in the award-winning spa and heated pool where romance and Atlantic beauty meet. Book your escape today.
The car that started it all, the Volkswagen Beetle. Built in Bowles back in 1950. Since then, we've come a long way. From first days at school, first loves and first jobs, we've been there rain or shine, and the odd bit of sun. 75 years on, we're still proud to call Ireland home. Your Volkswagen. Love every mile. Celebrating 75 years in Ireland.
Volkswagen. Order your 261 with Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny. See the full range at connolly's.ie.
Get ready to celebrate your Christmas party night in style at the Mount Errigal Hotel. On Saturday 13th of December, enjoy a festive night with the Cufflinks. And on Friday 19th of December, it's the brilliant All Folked Up. Your night includes festive drinks on arrival, a 4-course meal and live entertainment, all for just €50 per person. Book today at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny.
There's something terrifying in store for you at Aldi this Halloween. Choose from our range of sweets from as little as 72 cent. Roar and Dream chocolate treat size packs just €2.29. Traditional Barnbrack, including a ring, 2 for only €2. And 2-litre Vive Cola just 99 cent. All dead good value and everything you need to be the life and soul of your Halloween party. Aldi, all treats, no tricks. While stocks last. Deposit return scheme applies.
Fly Donegal to Glasgow with Loganair. Convenient return flights every Friday and Sunday, including a 15 kg checked bag. Book your Glasgow getaway now at loganair.co.uk. Terms and conditions apply.
It's the Donegal Creameries Milk €500 cash splash. We're giving away €500 in cash every week. Scan the QR code on promotional packs of Donegal Creameries Milk and you could be making a splash with €500 cash. Pick up special packs of Donegal Creameries Milk in store to find out more. Terms and conditions apply. The €500 cash splash with Donegal Creameries Milk.
Highland Radio weather updates with Michael Henneys. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in store or shop online at michaelhenneys.com today.
Today's weather, sunny spells and showers after some early mist and fog patches. The fog does seem to be lifting here a bit in the mountain top. Highest temperatures today of 12 to 14 degrees with mostly light north to northwest winds backing west. I'm joined now on the phone by Lauren Bouvard. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, Michaela.
So tell us, Lauren, what happened in St Johnstone over the weekend?
I was on my way to work as normal on Saturday morning. Busy morning and day ahead planned, and the weather was lovely. I was just thinking, coming down the road, I love this time of year. I was just turning in, just approaching on my way to work up towards the salon by Church Street in St Johnstone, and first of all I was met by damaged road signs, and I'd noticed graffiti over them. And then just as I was turning in at that junction, I had noticed then graffiti strewn all across the road where it caught your eye, where immediately I had to pull in and stop because I couldn't believe what I was reading in front of me. Quite large graffiti. It's actually unmissable and unmistakable as you're even driving past, to be honest. And as I'd pulled in, I'd got out of the vehicle, and I proceeded then just to record it because I couldn't believe it, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't just one wall.
Large.
It was large scale.
Yes, it was all over the public road. And then also while I was recording, I'd noticed then that some of the evidence had just been disregarded and thrown into above the wall, into the hedging.
Okay.
And it was actually what was wrote on the road as well too that was quite horrendous actually, for anybody, any of the residents or anybody in the locality. And as I said myself, the post office is also on that road. So there's two businesses on that particular street. And you also access this particular street then to access the main street. So it's a road that's quite frequented, and you also have the Masonic Hall, and you also have that as the main entry to the Presbyterian Church as well.
Okay. So some of the things that were written, some of the things that were written were racist and religious slurs and defamatory comments. We don't obviously need to go into the detail, but just to give listeners an idea of, obviously the upset that would have been caused among residents.
Yes, exactly. And then also some profanatory images drawn on the road as well, as you can imagine. But also it was the council signs that was damaged and the road signs, and then also my business sign. And also, as I approached that then, and I had gathered that, and I went back into the car and drove on, parking as normal, I had also noticed that a resident's door had also been defamed while I was walking up past onto work, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Now, that particular resident has lived there all their life. No harm to anybody, but and that is just totally unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can only imagine the absolute fear of, waking up and seeing your front door damaged is, it's just so unsettling.
Yes, and totally unprovoked. It's just not acceptable, and the town and the local community has had enough. And I did post that to my personal account because I was so horrified by it, and there had been local incidents recently as well. And just as a community, we've had enough, and we're not going to take this lightly,
Because you had mentioned as well that there's been some small fires started in the locality recently as well.
Yes, there has been, yes. Now, personally, I'm not aware of the ins and outs or anything like that, so I can't really comment too much further on that. But there has been other incidents and misdemeanours and carry on. And there also has been an incident as well where buses had been broken into in the early hours of Saturday morning as well, whether they're related or not, but it's too coincidental because there has never been any issue up until the early hours of Saturday morning now with where these buses are usually parked.
Right.
So, it's my understanding that they had been broken into and they had just been checked, ransacked, I suppose if any valuables had been left in or whatever, over the weekend.
And Lauren, obviously,
really.
Yeah, we don't know the identities of those, but do you think that they're from the locality?
Oh, yes, definitely. Now, these incidents have been ongoing under the cover of darkness, so they must be within the locality, yes.
Yeah.
I do believe so. And now the problem being with the graffiti that they have done and the slurs all over the road, they've done it with a permanent road spray. So, it would take a specialist, with solutions or whatever to come and remove it. So it's there for all to see and it's permanent at the minute, which isn't acceptable.
Yeah, and St. Johnstone is such a small, place, and just to think that there's people within your community that is causing such hurt and upset to people. And as you mentioned, that resident, the attack on their home that was totally unprovoked, that's just, it's frightening. And I suppose particularly for elderly people living there as well.
Exactly. And St. Johnstone is a small town village, and there's people that have lived there all their life. There has been nothing up until recently. And we are trying to regenerate the town as well. Like myself there just opened recently. The village shop has just recently reopened within the last 2 months. We're hoping, there will be another diner coming now in the very near future. And we have a butcher's in the town, and we have a pub in the town, and we have a chemist in the town, and real sense of community. And it's just so disheartening to see. It's not on and it's not fair.
And I suppose, you mentioned there that the spray painting's permanent. So, have you made efforts to contact the council, or I suppose maybe you're unsure of how you're going to get it removed at this stage?
Yes. To be honest now, the guards and everything had been informed and they were out with myself and made statements, etc. Now, they were to contact the council on our behalf, but I'm not sure where that stands now. I actually have to wait on the investigating officer to get back, but I have since source details of local councillors, but it is quite frustrating. It could be a while. There's yourself, I suppose there's a lot of red tape, etc.
Yeah.
But whether I have to go and personally contact them now myself, it's unacceptable as well. It's time and waste of time of everybody's time, money and resources.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I suppose,
that's not fair.
Yeah, community spirit you talked about, you now thinking that you're going to take this on and, contact them. That's, I suppose, the positives of the community in St. Johnstone, that, you're in this together now and, you want to get this removed as quickly as possible.
Yes, exactly. It's not nice for anybody as we're approaching the Halloween holidays now this weekend. The local play school in the community as well, they do a Halloween ramble every year, which is taking place now this Friday. And it's not nice to see because it is a walked road as well, families and everything frequent the area as well. It's not on for a very select few or group of people or whatever, to spoil it for everybody else.
Yeah, and I suppose subjecting the children then to, parents or whoever having to try and explain what this is. And it's just totally unsettling and unacceptable, Lauren. But thank you so much for obviously raising this, putting it out into the public domain, and hopefully there will be an end to this very, very soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Michaela. Thank you.
And just to think that, obviously Lauren was saying it's kind of ongoing different elements of antisocial behaviour, but just escalated over the weekends. Totally unacceptable. A listener says there's very heavy fog and there are so many people with no lights on at all. The visibility is very poor. Daytime lights are also no good as there are no lights at the back. Yeah, that's an issue that comes up every time we have fog. It does seem to be clearing here where we are in Letterkenny, but it was very heavy earlier this morning, and it seemed to get worse as the morning progressed. In relation to number plates, oh yes, hit the driver, high insurance, tax, petrol, terrible roads, keep kicking them into the ground. The country is in shambles. This isn't about, putting more expense onto the motorists. It's about road safety. So we were speaking to Susan Gray of the Park Road Safety Group earlier in this show in relation to a law coming into force now. It was passed in 2023. It's coming into force now, hopefully in the near future, where anybody who has an obscured number plate, or you can get them gel number plates now, that you will be fined €60 for the front number plate and €60 for the back number plate. But it's to improve road safety, and that these motorists can be detected, as Susan was saying, by speed vans and I'm not sure of the exact technical term, but the automatic number plate recognition that Gardaí would use, which would read the number plate, pull up all the driver details, if they are insured, if they have their tax, if they should be driving, if they even have a licence. So it's about improving road safety and not adding an additional expense. Another listener says Birmingham police detected 43,000 motorists with illegal number plates, which avoid detection in just 2 weeks. This is indicative how prevalent the problem is. That's a huge amount, 43 motorists. And as Susan was saying earlier, that motorists could have made the decision to have an illegal number plate to escape conviction. Maybe they've been banned from driving, but they've chosen that they're going to take to the roads despite that. Will the guards also check Northern Ireland and Ukrainian number plates, or are they just targeting Irish plates? I suppose this is an issue because in Northern Ireland, I don't know if you can here in the Republic, but in Northern Ireland you can buy so many different styles of number plates. As I mentioned, you can get the gel number plates, but you can get there's so many different. You can get like an outline round the numbers and letters. I don't know if it is as prevalent down here. But yeah, be interesting to see. In relation to the presidential election, if Heather wins, we will be paying twice for security if the husband isn't moving into the Irish. Surely they won't stay apart for years. Who Catherine Connolly represented is her simply doing her job, is Fine Gael implying she shouldn't have. I suppose, that's the argument. And John McAteer was speaking earlier discussing that, she was... that was her role, and obviously she can't break the confidentiality of that. I'm joined now on the line by Charlie. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
So, Charlie, you're concerned about the council implementing cycle lanes.
Partly about cycle lanes, of course, but it's just that it's more so about the development of walkways, just actual walkways and paths in around Letterkenny. Letterkenny's kind of been let down in terms of walkways and paths around the town, and we've got the River Swilly meanders through the town, and we haven't developed it at all. And as a part of a community group, we set up a committee there a few years ago, about 6 or 7 years ago now, and we worked tirelessly to engage with landowners and identify stakeholders for such a path. But we done a lot of good work. We done feasibility studies, and we done terms of reference for the project, and we gathered funding to do all the studies and that. but we left it with the council about 2 years ago, and we were told that the council would lead the project and the committee wouldn't have the capacity to do it. But since that, there seems to have been very little, if any, progress on the project, and it's just seeing all the cycle lanes and things like that going in, not really been used. You know, I haven't seen cycle lanes being overly used, but I just thought that the likes of a path along the Swilly there, you know, that would maybe stretch from Ballymacool Town Park to, you know, out as far as maybe the Thorn, would be a much better asset for the town, because we don't actually have a designated walking path in the town anywhere. So I just thought that, you know, if the funding was becoming available for these cycle paths, that maybe we should refocus the efforts and try and develop the path in around Letterkenny. If you look at Ballybofey and Stonorder, you know, they have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to paths and walkways, whereas Letterkenny, a town of 20,000 people, doesn't have the same assets.
And did the council at the time, Charlie, indicate that there would be a possibility of securing funding?
Yeah, well, initially, now, just to give a bit of context, this gained a lot of momentum around the time of local elections and that. But
of course,
unfortunately, you know, that dissipated after the election results. You know, there were some councillors there, you know, I'm not going to name names, but there were some councillors who were, you know, really helpful and kept us in touch with any developments, you know, whether they were just paper exercises or actual developments. But unfortunately, we got it to a point where we submitted a pre-planning application to the council, and the outcome of that application was that the planning authority felt that the committee wouldn't have the capacity to drive the project on, you know, to a stage that it would actually be developed. And there's an element of truth in that. That's fair enough, but it was left then that the council would progress it and take the lead on it. And I think it's gone into the council and maybe fallen down between two stools somewhere, but there seems to be no action on it at the minute.
And obviously,
yeah.
Obviously, at the time there was huge interest in this among people within the town, that, you know, that it was something they wanted developed, and that's in stark contrast to these cycle lanes, as you're highlighting here, because, you know, people are concerned about these cycle lanes, whereas a walkway they'd be more favourable for.
Oh, 100%, Michaela. Like, we have, like, personally, we have a daughter who's 5, and she's literally just got stabilisers off this week on her bike. But other than the town park, you know, up at the hospital there, other than that, there's nowhere really for her to go cycling safely. And it's not just young ones on bikes. It's like, we have a lot of running clubs in Letterkenny, and every person who goes out for a run in Letterkenny has no option but to compete with traffic, with junctions, with entrances. You know, there's no, like, if you can picture a walk that went from, we'll say Ballymacool Town Park, and went along the embankment. There is an embankment there, and we're not talking about, you know, we're not talking about a highfalutin 3-metre wide tarmac park, you know, or anything like that, because you have to be sensitive to the flora and fauna in the area too.
Yeah, but you're not taking over too much land, you know, that it already exists.
Not at all. Like, the embankments were all man-made embankments back in the 60s, and they're sitting there ready for a path to go on top of it. Like, we've engaged with the OPW. We've worked with the OPW to understand that they have a 5-year cycle where they maintain the rivers, but, you know, they would need a certain amount of access, and we did come up with a design that would suit the access required for the OPW, but it would also allow for a safe path. You know, there's nowhere in Letterkenny, like I say, that somebody who goes for a run or a 5K.
Yeah, no, it'd be a lovely idea.
To meet a runner. Yeah. So it's just that the funding that's going into these cycle paths and ripping up roads, and like that 4-lane road coming into Letterkenny, has it made the road safer? It has. There's no doubt about it. But it has its flaws. But the money that was spent on it, I'm not grumbling about what was done there. But I'm just thinking that the funding that is going for these cycle paths and upgrading of these roads, the cost of doing that path. Now, we have done feasibility studies on it, and we know that the cost of doing that path would be a drop in the ocean of some of these cycle paths.
Yeah.
So it's just that maybe we've lost focus on the simple projects, and we're going for these highfalutin cycle paths when really we're in a town that's in a basin, and nobody really wants to cycle from the Pierce Road up to Mountain Top. Not really. So I'm just thinking that some of that funding should be made available for these simple projects.
And deliver what would really enhance
the
town for the people.
Oh, 100%. Like, I am not the first person to ask, or to push for a walk. Jim Lynch was looking for this, a long, long time ago. Jim Lynch was crying out for this, and other councillors, Paddy Delap there in Letterkenny, and Tom Crossan. There's lots of people that have, but it just seems we've turned our back on the riverbank that runs through the town. So I just thought it's a missed opportunity that would add a bit of character to the town and a safe space to go for a walk or a run or a cycle or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Maybe we can check if the council has any update on that, if they have progressed it. Unfortunately, that's where we have to leave it on today's 9 to Noon show. John Breslin is up next on Around the Northwest. Thanks to Carling Orr and to Shannon Wilkin for all their help.